The winds of change, ancient and persistent, are once again sweeping across the vast and storied landscapes of the Middle East. For centuries, this region has been a crossroads of civilizations, a place where empires have risen and fallen, and where the promise of peace has often seemed just out of reach. Today, the Middle East stands at the threshold of a new era, its cities gleaming with modern ambition, its people yearning for stability and progress. The skyline of Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and Riyadh now symbolize not just economic power, but also the hope for a future shaped by cooperation rather than conflict. Across the region, the sight of national flags waving side by side, and diplomats engaging in dialogue hints at the possibility of a new diplomatic era, one defined by unity and shared interests. Former President Donald Trump, a central figure in recent Middle Eastern diplomacy, has declared that more Arab nations are poised to join the Abraham Accords. This historic 2020 framework normalized relations between Israel and several Arab neighbors, breaking decades of entrenched hostilities and opening doors to unprecedented cooperation. Trump claims to have held promising, confidential conversations with leaders from countries that have yet to reveal their intentions. According to him, the initial agreements were just the beginning, a first step toward a broader realignment that could reshape the entire region's political landscape. This renewed diplomatic push comes in the aftermath of a brutal 2-year conflict in Gaza, a period that has left deep scars, but also forced a reevaluation of priorities across the Arab world. The devastation and loss have underscored the urgent need for peace, stability, and economic opportunity. The vision now emerging is one of a coalition of nations, united not just by shared borders, but by a collective desire for economic prosperity and regional stability. Leaders are coming together, not as adversaries, but as partners determined to move beyond generations of conflict and mistrust. As the world's eyes turn to the Middle East, the question remains: can Trump's deal-making and the willingness of regional leaders truly usher in a new chapter? One where peace, cooperation, and hope finally take root in a land long defined by division? Only time will tell if this dawn will bring lasting light. At the heart of Trump's vision for reshaping the Middle East lies Saudi Arabia, the ultimate prize for the Abraham Accords, and a nation whose influence extends far beyond its borders. For decades, Saudi Arabia has been a key player in regional politics, wielding immense economic power and religious authority. As the wealthiest Arab state and the revered custodian of Islam's holiest sites, Saudi Arabia's participation in the Abraham Accords would be nothing short of transformative. It would not only signal a definitive shift in regional dynamics, but also send a powerful message to the wider Muslim world. The kingdom's endorsement could legitimize normalization for other hesitant nations, breaking long-standing taboos and opening doors that have remained closed for generations. Trump and his allies believe that if Saudi Arabia takes this historic step, a domino effect could follow. Other Arab and Muslim-majority countries might quickly join, creating a powerful bloc aligned with Israel and the United States. Such a coalition could reshape the balance of power in the Middle East, fostering new economic partnerships, security arrangements, and diplomatic ties that were once unimaginable. Yet, despite the tantalizing prospects, Riyadh's official stance remains firmly tied to the Arab Peace Initiative. The kingdom insists on the creation of a Palestinian state as a prerequisite for normalization with Israel, reflecting both its commitment to the Palestinian cause and the sensitivities of its own population. The Saudi leadership faces a delicate balancing act. On one hand, they must weigh the immense strategic and economic benefits of joining the accords. On the other, they must consider domestic public opinion, regional alliances, and the potential backlash from those who view normalization as a betrayal of Palestinian aspirations. Despite these formidable obstacles, the potential rewards, a new axis of power, greater regional stability, and unprecedented cooperation, keep the deal at the center of American diplomatic efforts. Negotiations continue behind closed doors, with both sides aware of the stakes and the historic opportunity before them. As the world watches with anticipation, the question remains: can this new strategic reality overcome decades of entrenched doctrine, suspicion, and conflict? The answer could redefine the future of the Middle East for generations to come. The push to expand the Abraham Accords unfolds amid a fragile Gaza ceasefire, brokered by Trump in October 2025. The 2-year war left over 67,000 Palestinians dead and Gaza in ruins. The ceasefire included a major hostage prisoner exchange and the reopening of border crossings for humanitarian aid. Around 200 U.S. troops now help monitor the peace and coordinate aid, signaling direct American commitment. While the ceasefire ended immediate bloodshed, core issues, Gaza's governance, reconstruction, and Hamas's disarmament, remain unresolved. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu faces pressure from his coalition, and the peace is only a first step. This pause in hostilities offers a window for broader diplomatic initiatives. To understand today's diplomacy, we must revisit the Abraham Accords' origins. Launched in 2020, the Accords broke a decades-old taboo, with the UAE and Bahrain normalizing ties with Israel. The agreements were driven by shared security concerns and economic opportunities, not just symbolism. Morocco and Sudan soon joined, challenging the idea that the Israeli-Palestinian conflict was the main obstacle to peace. The Accord's success showed other Arab nations that normalization could bring real benefits. The UAE and Bahrain have seen increased investment and security cooperation with Israel. This track record now serves as a powerful incentive for others to follow. Riding the momentum from the historic Gaza ceasefire, Donald Trump embarked on a high-stakes diplomatic tour across the Middle East in October 2025. His arrival was met with intense anticipation, as leaders and citizens alike wondered if this visit could mark a turning point for the region. The world watched closely, aware that the stakes had rarely been higher. In Israel, Trump addressed the Knesset in a speech broadcast live across the country. He celebrated the fragile ceasefire, emphasizing the courage it took from all sides to reach this moment. Trump spoke of a new era of hope, outlining his vision for a future where Israelis and Palestinians could coexist in peace and security. He called on lawmakers to seize this rare opportunity and work together for a better tomorrow. The next stop was a landmark summit in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, where Trump met with over 20 regional leaders. The gathering was unprecedented in its scale and ambition. Trump pressed for more countries to join the Abraham Accords, urging leaders to set aside old grievances and embrace a shared vision of economic growth and regional stability. The summit was filled with tense negotiations, but also moments of optimism as leaders discussed new possibilities for cooperation. A particularly notable moment came when Trump met with Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas for the first time in 8 years. Their handshake, captured by cameras worldwide, signaled a possible re-engagement with the Palestinian leadership. The meeting was seen as a tentative but important step toward rebuilding trust and opening new channels for dialogue, with both sides expressing cautious optimism about the future. Throughout the tour, Trump's goal was clear: to transform the momentum from the ceasefire into lasting agreements. He pushed for concrete commitments, encouraging leaders to sign new accords and deepen their cooperation. The ceremonies were symbolic, but the real work was happening behind closed doors, where diplomats hammered out the details of future partnerships. At every stop, Trump's message was consistent. Cooperation with Israel and the United States is the surest path to prosperity and stability for the entire region. He highlighted the economic benefits of peace, promising investment, jobs, and a brighter future for the next generation. His words resonated with many, but skepticism remained among those wary of past disappointments. Ultimately, the trip demonstrated Trump's personal commitment to reshaping the Middle East through direct, hands-on diplomacy. By engaging leaders face-to-face and pushing for bold action, he aimed to leave a lasting legacy, one defined not just by ceasefires, but by real, enduring peace and cooperation. Despite Trump's confidence, the path to normalization is fraught with obstacles. Public anger over the Gaza war is intense, making it risky for Arab leaders to embrace Israel. Polls show overwhelming opposition to normalization, especially in Saudi Arabia. Even in countries like Morocco, support for the Accords has plummeted since the war. Israel's actions in Gaza and the West Bank have deepened mistrust and isolation. For normalization to advance, many believe Israel must show visible policy changes. The region remains tense. The ceasefire is only a pause, not a resolution. Overcoming these hurdles will require more than diplomacy. It demands real change on the ground. The unresolved Palestinian question remains the core challenge to expanding the Abraham Accords. The Arab Peace Initiative still conditions normalization on a Palestinian state. Saudi Arabia, in particular, insists on a credible path to two states before formalizing ties with Israel. The recent Gaza war has hardened this stance, making it politically toxic to sideline the Palestinians. Any successful expansion will likely require tangible steps toward a two-state solution, such as a settlement freeze or renewed negotiations. Trump's meeting with Abbas may signal a shift, but without real progress, the Saudi prize remains elusive. Addressing Palestinian aspirations is now essential for any broader breakthrough. Trump's Middle East approach, while achieving breakthroughs, has drawn sharp criticism. His 2017 recognition of Jerusalem as Israel's capital broke with decades of U.S. policy and angered Palestinians and the Arab world. Critics argue this move, and the accords themselves, sidelined Palestinian aspirations and weakened the Arab bargaining position. The fear peace between governments ignores the root causes of conflict and lacks popular legitimacy. Trump's transactional style prioritizes deals between leaders, sometimes at the expense of long-term stability and human rights. Declining support for the accords in places like Morocco highlights this fragility. Critics warn that without addressing core grievances, peace will remain elusive. The expansion of the Abraham Accords could redefine Middle Eastern geopolitics. If Saudi Arabia joins, a new bloc of Israeli and Arab states could reshape the region's balance of power. This realignment could allow the U.S. to reduce its military footprint, shifting to a facilitator role. But risks abound. The Gaza ceasefire's fragility, public opposition, and the unresolved Palestinian issue threaten the process. A poorly structured deal could backfire, fueling instability and polarization. The coming months will test Trump's diplomatic vision. Success could usher in unprecedented cooperation. Failure would highlight the region's enduring divisions. The world is watching to see if this bold gamble will deliver the promised new Middle East.